everyone, it's Christy from Green Eyed Tarot, and I am here today to do the hashtag Goodmooddecks, which I believe was started by Waves of Your Soul. I've seen a bunch of people do this, and it's really fun, and there's so many that I've been watching that I actually agree with, like so many of the decks. I have a lot of the decks, the Goodmooddecks, so it's been really fun. It was fun to kind of go through them and like take them out and like see like what kind of mood they put me in and see if they fell into this category. I feel like I have a ton of them now that I'm looking at it. It is a huge pile, so I'm gonna get started right away. Otherwise, this video is going to be very long. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and we are gonna get into a good mood. Hey again, everybody. So I'm about to get started on the Goodmooddecks. I've included just a mix of tarot and oracle. I'm not going to really bring them out in any type of order, but I have a few oracle decks and tarot decks that I consider good mood decks, ones that put me in a good mood, ones that are really fun to just look at and hold and play with, and in general are just make me happy. So the first one is this lovely deck right here, the Anne of Green Gables Tarot. I'm pretty sure I've featured this in other videos for different tags. It is basically just the perfect representation of my childhood. I was obsessed with Anne of Green Gables, both the books and the 1980s movies with Megan Follows. I was obsessed. I watched it whenever I was homesick. Like that was my go-to. Whenever I was stuck in the house, like that's what I would be watching. Yeah, so I love it so much. So it's just super nostalgic for me. So every scene in all the cards, I know exactly the characters, I know the scenes, I know what they're referring to. I know what happens before the scene and after the scene, and I'm pretty much like, can quote everything that's going on in these cards. So yeah, so this is just a deck that's super special because of what it represents for me in my childhood. Like this is when Anne's giving her poetry performance at the Sands Hotel, this really fancy hotel, and she has her fancy dress on and beautiful jewelry that Matthew gave her. And this is where she recites the wreck of the Hesperus. So yes, it's just basically like my childhood in a tarot deck. So therefore, it makes me super happy. I have super happy memories of watching these, the movies with my mom and reading the books. And as I said, just this feeling of home and childhood this deck gives me is just amazing, and I love it, and it makes me super happy for those reasons, just for the feelings and the memories it brings up for me of my childhood. It definitely puts me in that happy place. Let's see. Next, we have the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Now, who doesn't get happy when they see a bunch of frolicking unicorns in a tarot deck? I mean, I just feel like this is a no-brainer for happy. These are the backs. Super cute. This is by Pamela Chen. It's fun. It's a fun deck. Like, I'm not sure what else to say about this, but I don't know how it cannot make you super happy. I guess if you don't like unicorns, in which case I don't think you would have this deck. But again, it's just so colorful and fun, and it reminds me again of being a kid, of being a kid and wanting everything unicorn, and just the magic of unicorns. And so yeah, so just the fact that this is, unicorns literally in the traditional RWS scenes is like, it's great. Again, it's completely RWS clone. Like, look at oh my God, look at the strength card. Look at the way that lion is looking at the unicorn, like, the way they're like looking at each other. I can't. It's just adorable. It makes me so happy just looking at this right now. Like, I forgot how cute this is. Like, I need to like take this out and use it, because it really does make me happy just looking at it. So this is definitely a good mood deck. Like I said, a bunch of unicorns frolicking through the scenes of the RWS. Like I said, I don't know how it couldn't put you in a good mood. But yeah. So this is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot by Pamela Chin. Definitely good mood. All around, good mood deck. Like I said, I'm not sure how you could not be in a good mood when you're looking at unicorns. But yeah, definitely a good mood deck for sure. The Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Let's see, what else? So next I have the Phantasma Tarot. So this is a Paulina Faye deck. And I feel like any one of Paulina Faye's decks could probably, you know, fit into this good mood category. Like the Joie de Vivre obviously comes to mind tarot. Definitely. This is the only Paulina Faye deck I have. But I would imagine like her other decks, like I said, would definitely fit into this category of a good mood. Just the colors, like, you know, obviously like not every card is going to be like a happy and positive card, but I think it's just something about the whimsical nature of her art, you know, and it just, I don't know, again, it's, I don't want to say like it's childlike, but it reminds me of like the fantastical stories that I liked when I was a kid. And like it has like a little bit of a storybook feel, but it's so whimsical, and the pastel colors and just like the different creatures, it definitely just makes me happy and puts me in a good mood. It's definitely a deck that reminds me of like the spring. It gives off like spring vibes to me because of the colors, and just a lot of like the flowers and things that are used, but it's just super fun. And like I said, whimsical, and like, you know, it can be very deep. Like her decks can give like really awesome, like deep readings. I don't think just because we're calling them good mood decks doesn't mean that they can't have depth. I think that that's not the case at all, especially with this deck. Like it's definitely deep. It gives you like good, deep, you know, clear readings, but it also is definitely a good mood deck for me. Like it's the artwork, it's the colors, it's the fantastical creatures that are, you know, that are depicted in the cards. Just something about it, definitely. I think I think it's all of those things that sort of give it, like, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's so like, it has like that masquerade feel to it. Like, I don't know, like sort of a masquerade ball. Like some of them, you know, have that feel. And again, just Labyrinth is like one of my favorite movies from when I was younger, from when I was a kid. And this, I don't know, just gives me that vibe, like the Labyrinth vibe, like the costume, the elaborate costumes, and that masquerade ball they go to, and just the creatures that, you know, she meets like on her way, you know, through the labyrinth. I don't know, it gives me that vibe, and that makes me happy again, because again, just a happy time, happy memory from childhood. It definitely puts me in a good mood. So this is the Phantasma Tarot by Paulina Faye. Again, this is the only Paulina Faye deck I currently have right now in my deck collection, and I do love it. So that's good mood deck. Let's see, what do we have next? Oh, so this is a tried and true. It falls into so many categories for me. Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle. This is like one of my favorite oracles of all time. It makes me so happy and puts me in the mood for Halloween and Samhain. It's like right now is the time when I start to like long for that time of year. The fall is my favorite season, and this just gives off those vibes, like those witchy Halloween Samhain vibes, and I am all for it, and it makes me so happy. Just these images, Terry Foss, her artwork, it like speaks directly to my soul. And this is so dreamy and so witchy, and again, like I said, puts me in that mind space of the fall and Halloween and Samhain and all those good fun vibes with the cats and the witches and their pointy hats. And I absolutely adore this, and it never fails to put me in a good mood. It never fails to put me in that Halloween Samhain headspace. I love it. It definitely is. Good mood deck in the best witchy kind of way. It's phenomenal. I know it's coming out mass market. I believe that's still happening. I love this. This is from Make Playing Cards, I believe. So I've had this for quite some time. And like I said, it is one of my favorite oracles. Oh, I love this. Look. It's like Professor McGonagall vibes, and oh my God, and like Morticia Addams vibes, and I could just go on, and like sometimes I just take this deck out and just spread it all around so I can see all the images at once, because it just makes me so happy. So yeah, I do that with this deck. Like I said, just sometimes I just take it out. Like I said, oh, look at this. Just spread it. Look at all of them. I'm gonna end up going through this entire deck right now because I love it so much. Look at that. Halloween Samhain, it's coming, everybody. It's not that far away. So yeah. Oh, and I went to Michael's over the weekend, and their Halloween stuff is out already. So yeah. Excited. Oh, and look, what do we have next? The Halloween Tarot. Let's just stay with that theme, because I'm just like getting super excited and in a super good mood right now just from talking about Halloween and that time of year. So let's just keep it going because it's got me in a really good mood. So this is the Halloween Tarot. This one is, besides it obviously reminding me of my favorite time of year, it also again reminds me of just being a kid, like trick-or-treating as a kid. Oh my gosh, I love Halloween so much, and I loved trick-or-treating so much. Like that was, I don't know, it was always one of those things that like I looked forward to. We always had like Halloween parties when I was a kid, you know, bobbing for apples and like just playing all these like fun games. I have such fond memories of Halloween, and this deck is so it's just so adorable. And it's like I love the suits, like the ghosts and the imps. I don't know how you cannot be in a good mood. I guess if you don't like Halloween and Samhain, this is not going to be for you, but this is definitely for me, and it definitely makes me happy and just puts me in that fun Halloween space, and I just love it so much. It's like so fun, and you know, it's silly in a lot of ways, but it's just amazing. Again, reminds me of trick-or-treating and just being out on Halloween and everyone dressed up and everyone getting candy, and oh my gosh. So yeah, so this definitely falls into that good mood deck, the Halloween Tarot. I love it. It's so fun. And now I'm so in the mood for Halloween and the fall. And like I said, that alone just puts me in a good mood. Just thinking about it, talking about it, looking at these decks that give off those vibes it's making me so happy right now. All right, so up next we have another tarot deck. So this is the Lazy Crow Tarot deck. This is by Nicholas Crago. And so this is an indie deck. I think Etsy, I'm pretty sure I got this on Etsy. This is amazing, this deck. So it is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. It's very, Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's done in a really fun way, I believe. Like, he talked about how he created this deck using as little lines as possible. Like, the drawings basically like have as minimal as you can with getting the idea of the RWS and those traditional images across. So it just always like puts a smile on my face. Like, it's so fun and quirky. I was so happy when I came across this deck. I've had it for a little while now, a few years, and it's just fun. Like I said, and quirky. Like, look at this. It always never fails to like put a smile on my face. It's like a little cheeky, you know, but it gives good readings. It's, like I said, traditional RWS. If you read RWS, then you'll be able to read with this deck, but there's just something about it that's just so fun. And so, like, if I'm looking for like just a traditional RWS reading, but I don't want it, like, I'm just sort of like in a silly mood, then this is probably the one I'm gonna reach for, because it's, to me, it's got that silly vibe to it. Like, something about their faces, like they don't have like they have no mouths. Like, it's really, I don't know, it's just quirky and fun. It kind of reminds me of like a cartoon, like a cartoon strip, like in the newspaper, like that you would find in like the Sunday paper, like a cartoon strip, a comic strip. It gives off that vibe to me. And I can just like imagine like little bubbles like over their heads and like just like them saying funny things. Like, I think that's what I get from this deck, and so that's why it puts me in a good mood, because it's kind of silly, but it's super fun. Yeah, I don't hear enough people talking about it. I feel like more people are talking about it now, but it's just a lot of fun. So this is the Lazy Crow Tarot. I believe you can still get this on the Etsy site or the creator's website. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure you can still get it. So next we have the Ember and Aura Tarot. Now, this may not be one that like immediately comes to mind for people as like a good mood deck. Probably like not one that I would see like, you know, in people's picks for good mood decks, but I think there's like definitely something about it. You can see it's super large. It's like oracle size. It's got this shiny pink gilding, and I'm not really much of a pink person, but like something like drew me to this deck when I was like looking for something new. And I think it's definitely something about the colors and like the way the artwork is done. This is the Awakening edition. I know there was a few editions to this. It's by Jamie Richardson, but this is the Awakening edition. And it's something about the colors, because I'm not really much of a pink person in general. Like, I don't wear pink. It's not a color that like I'm like drawn to typically, but I was really drawn to this deck. And it's not, even though it's not typically what you think, oh, like a happy, like, you know, it's pretty traditional, but something about it definitely like lifts my spirits. Like, so maybe this is like maybe one that if I'm not in a great mood, if I take it out and start using it, I relax a little bit, and I something about it is really soft, and like it puts me in a good mood. Like, so maybe it's one of those that like I said, isn't immediately like, oh, like automatically take it out of like I'm in a good mood, like, or I'm in a good mood, let me pull this out because I'm already in a good mood. This is more of like it kind of puts me in a good mood, and puts me kind of at ease. And like I said, it's pretty soft, you know, and gentle. Like, this could be put into like a more of like a gentle decks, which might be a fun hashtag to do as well. But for the most part, you know, this is definitely, to me, a good mood deck. I I kind of like the larger size. I mean, I kind of like having a variety of decks with like different, so I kind of like the larger. I really like the cardstock. Like, I don't know, this cardstock is like amazing. I love it. It's like that matte, but it's still like slippery, and I don't know. It makes like that swooshy sound. I think we all know that swooshy sound. And that like just puts me in a good mood. So just like kind of like, I don't know, tactily, this is a deck for all of my senses, and gets me in that good mood because I just like it. Yeah, look at that. Like, it's just something about it. Soft colors, the nice feel, the sound it makes. It's really pretty. It definitely is a good mood deck for me. It's pretty gorgeous. And like I said, I like the large card size. Like, you know, it doesn't really bother me. I can overhand shuffle it. So sometimes I just like having the different variety of like different kinds of tarot decks. And like I said, this kind of has like a sensory experience for me that I don't get with all decks. So it definitely puts me in a good mood when I pull it out. You know, it can help me like lift my spirits a little bit, just, you know, by shuffling it and feeling it and using it. It's kind of like a sensory experience for me. So that's the Ember and Aura Tarot. And it is, like I said, it's the Awakening edition. Okay, so next up is an Oracle deck. So this is the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck. Let me zoom out a little because this is a pretty big deck. So this is by Amanda Lovelace, who is a wonderful and fabulous poet. And she is also a self-identified witch. So this deck, look at that, look at the backs. The backs are really pretty. So this is an oracle. It's pretty big. It's pretty gigantic, but this deck puts me in a good mood. It connects me to my teenage self. So while a lot of these decks are are very nostalgic for me for my childhood, this is like more my teenage / college years. Just, it definitely reminds me of like hanging out with a group of girlfriends, if that makes sense. So I've heard a lot, you know, of people review this deck and talk about how it skews like very young, and, you know, it does. Like, you know, it definitely has that vibe, which is okay. You know what I mean? I'm 45. I'm definitely not young. I'm in the, you know, mid life category, I guess you could call it. But, you know, age is just a number, and it's a mindset too. And I feel like decks like this that kind of connect you to different times of your life are really sweet and really can be really helpful. And like I said, this just puts me in a good mood, like a hanging out with your girlfriends, like I said, kind of mood. So, you know, it has the keyword and it has like a little affirmation or like a phrase. It's just, it's fun, but it's also very deep. Like I said, just because these are good mood decks for me doesn't mean that they're not shadow work decks for someone else, or it doesn't mean I can't use them for shadow work, or they're not affirmation decks for people, or they're not like what a person would consider like a challenging deck for them, or a gentle deck. Decks can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and decks can hold different places in your own collection and practice for so many different reasons. So I wouldn't say this is just a good mood deck. This also is not just a deck that I use like daily. I definitely pull this out during certain times for specific reasons, but it never fails to put me in a good mood and never fails to kind of just give me that hanging out with my friends vibe, and also loving yourself the way you are vibes. And that's always going to put me in a good mood. You know, just, you know, that love between friends, and, you know, friendships between women can be challenging at times. And I've had that challenge like my entire life from the time I was a teenager. So when I did build those friendships, they were really meaningful to me. So the fact that this deck kind of puts me back into that feeling of, you know, these close friendships I had with other women and other girls, like in my teenage / college years, it definitely puts me in a good mood, and kind of just brings me back to that feeling of being young, you know, and like just starting out in the world. You know, and sometimes we need that, you know, the us folks in the mid-life span, you know, definitely need that reminder of what it felt like to be young and just starting out and a teenager. I love this. Be honest with yourself. Like, all of these messages are like, yes, I wish that I was able to have these, you know, messages, and I wish I was able to tell myself these things when I was that age. And I wish I was this empowered, you know, at that age. And so this, it just puts me in, see, here's like, surround yourself with love. Here they are hanging out. Some girls hanging out, some friends hanging out, you know, it's just like, I like it. I like the feeling that this deck gives me, and the emotions that it brings up, and it definitely is a good mood deck for me. It represents so many things, but I definitely consider it a good mood deck, for the way it makes me feel and the things it makes me think about, and just, yeah, believe in your own magic. Even the title, it makes me feel good. So there's that one. Okay. So next up we have another tarot. So this is the Luna Lapin tarot deck. And it's basically a good mood in a tarot deck, if I can say that, because it's bunnies. So again, not sure how you can't be in a good mood when you are looking at bunnies frolicking through the RWS tarot system. So there's extra cards. Let me get to the actual. So this is the Luna Lapin. Like I said, it's bunnies, wabbits. I mean, yeah, I'm like speechless because look at this, look at this, look at this bunny. There's nothing else I can say about this other than that I like squeal. I squeal when I open this deck. I'm pretty sure I frightened my partner because I squealed so loud. I mean, look, this is the Four of Swords. Like, it's a chubby bunny. Yeah. So this is definitely a good mood deck. It's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. It's literally bunnies, rabbits in the scenes of the Rider-Waite-Smith. So you can definitely read with it. It's, you know, it's going to give you, it's traditional imagery. Okay, so this is one of the cards that I like squealed. I'm pretty sure I posted this on Instagram because I literally can't take the face, and it's not going to focus now. I can't take the face of this bunny. Like, do you see the furry one? Like, he's so perturbed. I don't know. I don't know how you cannot be in a good mood. Look at this Knight of Cups. Like, he's getting a little help from the horse. Oh my God. Oh my God, look at this. Look, the bunny family. Oh my God, look at the King of Wands. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do this, the whole deck, because it literally is pretty much the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So this is good mood in a deck. I challenge anyone, if you have this deck, I challenge anyone to not immediately smile when you pull this deck out and start looking at it. You're in a bad mood. You've had a bad day. You're pissed off at the world. Take this deck out and start flipping through it. Do a reading. Do a 1-card reading, and I guarantee you, even if you get the 2 of Swords, you will smile because it's a bunny. Okay, I'm going to stop going on about it now, but suffice it to say, this is, like I said, literally the cutest deck I've ever seen in my entire life, and good mood. Bunnies, as soon as I pull it out, it never ceases to make me smile. I'm so glad I have this. I bought it secondhand. One of the best purchases I've ever made in terms of tarot. Good mood in a deck. Okay, we're getting there. So this is the Magical Unicorns Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. I have had this for a very long time, and I've been close to rehoming it a few times. Look, isn't it pretty? Those are the backs. But again, unicorns. And it's one of those like Doreen Virtue decks. So it's got pretty Doreen Virtue messages, which is not a bad thing. Look, love from your parents. I mean, it's got like really sweet messages, but again, it just puts me in a good mood because it reminds me of being a kid. It just reminds me of like these books that I used to get, like that were about unicorns and fairies, and just yeah, it definitely puts me in a nostalgic frame of mind, and I love it. So Magical Unicorn Oracle cards. I'm not sure if these are available. I probably should check that out. I can check it out. And look at this. Just be yourself. You're a great person. Enjoy being yourself. Like, I feel like these are perfect for kids. Like Oracle cards for like a first Oracle deck for like kids. You know, affirmations for kids. I could definitely see these, you know, being used in that way. And like I said, I probably should have checked, but I can definitely find out if they're still available. I don't think they are. We all, I think, are aware of what happened with Doreen Virtue. So I think that these might, you know, not be available. I'm sure you might be able to get it secondhand, but I just love it. Best friends, brothers and sisters. It reminds me of being a kid. Definitely. Happy surprise. Like, look at this. Something very good is about to happen. Like, it's like the Magic 8 Ball. Like, you know, it can be silly, you know, but sometimes it's fun to just pull a card that says something very good is about to happen. It's like getting a fortune in a fortune cookie, you know. I still read my fortune. I'm 45. Of course I read my fortune, you know. Sometimes I save them and tape them to my refrigerator. Like, is it your fortune going to come true? Probably not. But look, definitely yes. It's the Magic 8 Ball. Like, it puts me in a good mood. So yeah, so that is the Magical Unicorns Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. An oldie but goodie. I'm so glad I never got rid of it. I'm so glad I've kept it all this time. I've had it a long time. And I'm very happy that I still have it because it's fun. It's just fun. And again, nostalgic, and it's unicorns, so need I say more? Okay, so I have another oracle. This is the Goddess Love Oracle by Wendy Andrew, and I have the Goddess Dream. These are amongst my favorite oracle decks. I use these like pretty much daily. I've used them very often for daily draws. I usually, before I go to bed at night, so before I go to sleep, I use the Goddess Dream and the Goddess Love. But the Goddess Love is definitely more of a good mood deck. I think Wendy Andrew, her artwork is just divine, and it just puts you in a good mood looking at it. But I think it's also the inclusion of the animals. I mean, the messages are so sweet, and of course loving, because this is the Goddess Love, you know, oracle. But I think this puts me into such a good mood because of the animals and the way they're like interacting with the humans in the cards. Oh, it just puts me in like such a good, like loving mood. You know, it reminds me that I'm loved, you know, even if it's just me loving myself. And yeah, again, it's a healing, it has a healing vibe, you know, it's deep. Like these, the Goddess Dream is a little, to me, is a little bit deeper, a little more like shadow work. This to me is straight up like love, you know, and loving vibes. And so it just, look, radiance, flora, it says rejoice, make love, celebrate. It's happy, it's loving, it's joyful. And like I said, the way she incorporates the animals, look at this, look, oh my God, they're owls. Look at the little owls in a nest. It makes me happy. Oh, look, I mean, look at how gorgeous that is. Like if I could just have her artwork hanging all over my home, I probably would. But it's just got such a great energy, this deck, and it's just beautiful, and it makes me very happy and puts me in a, look at this, a kitty. Oh, look at that. The baby, like the mama bear energy. It just instantly puts me in a good mood. That's why I usually pull one of these cards at bedtime, because it just puts me in that like lighthearted, loving space before I close my eyes and go to sleep, which, you know, is important for me to sort of end the day, you know, on that loving, positive note. So it kind of puts me in a good mood for bed. And that's how, you know, I use that. Okay, so we're down to the last one, finally. Last two, actually. But so this is the Everyday Witch Tarot, which I know everyone is pretty familiar with. And this is by Deborah Blake. And yeah, like I said, pretty sure everyone's familiar with this deck. I've had this deck pretty much since it came out. I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered it or got it right when it came out. But these are the backs. Again, it's like the Earthly Souls in Spirit. This is like, makes my witchy self so happy. This puts my witch soul into a good mood every time I take it out. And I was just thinking, before I even did this video, I was just thinking I need to get this deck out and use it. I was like thinking, I don't know what made me think about it, but I was like, you know what? I need to take the Everyday Witch out and just have it out and like use it, you know, for like a week. And because it makes me so happy. Like, and I think it's, again, like the striped stockings and the pointy hats and just the super witchy energy. You know, it reminds me of Hocus Pocus, you know, which, you know, again, that sort of like going back to those younger years, this puts me in such a good mood. And I think also too, it reminds me of a time when I had reignited my passion and love and use of tarot, when this deck came out. And when I got this deck, it was sort of like this turning point in my life. And I think it kind of brings back those feelings of like, kind of when you take a break from tarot, sort of when you get tarot overwhelm and all of a sudden you've realized, okay, like I've put down the cards and I haven't picked them up for a while, and then you do, and it's sort of like meeting an old friend again. That's what this deck kind of gives me the feels, and it just puts me in a good mood, definitely. I've heard so many positive and negative things about this deck, but I have only positive feelings about this deck. It's super fun. Like I said, that witchy energy, it doesn't get more witchy than a black cat and a broom and a black cat. It gives me that witchy vibe. And like I said, the striped stockings, that I just love it. Just, like I said, it brings me back to a place of when I first started out with tarot and then getting reintroduced to it again. It reminds me of a time in my life that's super important. So I think that contributes to it, definitely. But I absolutely adore this, the little black cat. And I can say that I feel like if you've been watching YouTube, specifically TarotTube and tarot content creators, and then many of you will be familiar with Imogen Walters' walkthrough of this. I have it saved. It's in my favorites. Unfortunately, she's no longer on YouTube, no longer making content. She moved away from tarot content specifically, and then I believe moved away from YouTube altogether. But her walkthrough of this deck is one of the greatest YouTube videos I've ever seen, and her joy and her first impressions and just her, like I said, her joy is just something to behold. And I already had this deck when I watched her walkthrough, and I took it out, and I did it with her. The second time I watched it, took it out and took the cards out with her, and just kind of like lived through her and her joy, and like kind of felt the same joy. So she definitely had a big part of building my relationship with this deck. And so I just have such great memories of using this when I first got it, and just being so excited about it. And now that I'm like flipping through it again, I'm getting excited again. And again, it gives me Halloween vibes, which we've already covered. I love Halloween, love the fall. I won't rehash it, but it definitely gives me those vibes too. So I love this deck. It puts me in a good mood. It makes me very happy. It speaks to my little witchy soul, and my younger witchy self and my current witchy self. And to go along with that is the Everyday Witch Oracle. So this, again, it speaks to me the same way. It has the same vibe. The cats, it's obviously gigantic because it's an oracle, so it's much bigger. But again, this sort of speaks to my witchy self. It goes right along with this. My only pet peeve is how glossy it is. I wish it was the same, like, smooth cardstock as the tarot, but what are you gonna do? That's a minor thing. But again, this makes me super happy, super witchy. The pointy hats, the cats, it's a vibe, and I love it, and I quite enjoy it, and it definitely puts me in a good mood. And it's great. It gives great readings, but for me, this is a lighthearted place for me, these decks, and I truly enjoy them, and they do put me in a fabulous mood, getting ready for Halloween, getting ready for witchy season. Witchy season's all year for me, but especially around the fall and Samhain and Halloween, and this just feeds my little witchy soul so much, and it makes me very happy. So the Everyday Witch Oracle, the Everyday Witch Tarot, I just adore them. They make me very happy. They put me in a good mood, and that's it. I feel like I went through a lot of decks, but I hope everyone enjoyed it. I know I sort of rambled on, but they put me in a good mood, and when I'm in a good mood, I ramble, and I tend to talk more. They're definitely good mood decks for sure, because they made me ramble on about them. But I look forward to seeing everyone else's #Goodmooddecks. It's putting me in a good mood. It's keeping me in a good mood. I'm going into Monday in a very good mood from going through all these decks. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.